Okay, I haven't done a live stream in probably, 1 or 2 years, so we're getting back into the flow today, ladies and gents. But I just wanted to share some experiences as opposed to make a big studio video today on what just happened today to me, which yet again, one of these really annoying things involving banks, and I don't want to spoil it, but closing accounts and stuff like that. So I just want to share with you a couple of things that happened today. And well, actually, let's go back to Thursday, Friday, when I was on a conference call. And I get a call from my bank, and this guy says he needs to speak to me. And I told him I was on a conference call, and he says, well, I need to speak to you urgently or I'm going to close your bank account down. I mean, firstly, who does that? Who calls from a bank and says that? So I had to get off this conference call. And he started asking me all sorts of questions about where I live and what I'm doing on the Isle of Man and stuff like that, right? So he's really rude, this guy from the bank. And then asked me a few questions and said, he was trying to help me. Well, guess what happens today? I get an email. I'm just going to read this out to you. And it says, "Hi Neil." So it wasn't even, formal, first name terms. "Following our recent conversation, we regret to inform you that following a review of your accounts," so these are 3 bank accounts, "with us, and after careful consideration, we are unable to continue to act as your bankers. We will write to you to confirm we will be closing your accounts, and the closure date will be confirmed on the letter issued." So, okay, that's another 3 bank accounts, right, that have just been closed for me. Then, the very same day, I get an email. I'm just going to paraphrase this, but they're saying that they're holding back payments to my account. And this is a different bank for AML. This is anti-money laundering. That's what it stands for, right? So now I've got this happening, and YouTube as well, I haven't mentioned this, hasn't paid me in 3 months now. Okay, 3 months they haven't paid me any ad revenue because they said they don't recognize the Isle of Man as a jurisdiction. They said I have to be part of the UK. Well, I can't be part of the UK because the UK and the Isle of Man are separate countries. I don't understand this. So this is what YouTube has suggested. Are you ready for this? They have suggested that even though they take half of my ad revenue, right? So 100% of the ad revenue from you guys watching the videos. So even though they've said that they take half of as creators, our ad revenue, now they've suggested the solution is to hold back 30% of what they pay me. So basically, that means they'll get 80% or 70%. What is it? They're going to hold back 30%. That's right. So I'll end up with 20% of the ad revenue. I mean, this is how crazy, not just the banks, but it's all these tech companies as well now are becoming. It's absolutely crazy. But here's the funny one. So I went to the bank today to take some cash out. So it's my local bank, right? And they said they needed I need to book it in. And I said, I don't need a huge amount of cash. This is what I need. And the lady said, well, you got to book it in. What do you need it for? So I said as a joke, right? I said, oh, I've got a very bad daily habit. And, I need to pay cash for this habit. And she just looked at me dead seriously. And she's like, okay, well, I need to write that down. And I said, yeah, obviously I'm joking. She's like, no, I need to write that down. It's the first answer you gave me. And I said, well, obviously I'm joking. And she says, well, I've got to write this down now. So are you saying it's like a drug addiction? And I'm like, there's all these people there. I'm like, no, I'm joking. It's a coffee addiction. It's for my daily coffee. And she's like, right. Well, I can't give you cash. Have you got some identification? I said, yeah, I've got a driving license. Right. Have you got a second form of identity? This is how crazy now these banks are becoming. They are absolutely nuts. They have become dictatorships that they won't let you, even take out your own. You see where this is going, ladies and gents? You see where this is going now with all of these. Thank you, Jose, there. It will be seized from YouTube, yeah. So what else have we got going on? We've got Australia removing all of this cash from the supply. You've probably seen this article in Australia. It's huge amounts of cash. We saw that in Nigeria as well. They deliberately did that. They deliberately removed this cash at the same time as they launched the digital currency. Now, there's another thing that came out. There's a couple of things, a couple of notes then. So Wells Fargo in the US has closed 100 branches this year, if you're aware of this. And in 2021, there was 3,000 bank branches closed in the US. There's a huge amount in the UK as well. So they're deliberately closing all these bank branches. But this was an email that a subscriber sent me. Okay, so this is about Wells Fargo here, right? So someone sent me this. And it said, so this is not the first, by the way. This is a lot of things with Wells Fargo as well and some other banks. And this just says that because they're using a private mailbox because they're a company and they don't want people to know where they live, right? Which is the same as me. Well, I don't really care as much, but some people who can be famous or whatever, they don't want people to know where they live. Well, now the bank is forcing them, even though they act as a company, to provide their home address. They need like this physical home address. So it says that if this person doesn't, if this doesn't do that, they're going to close their account by the 21st of October. And it says as well, you'll lose access to your account. So they, contacted them, found out more about that. What do you mean I'm going to lose access to the account? What about the funds and things like this? So the funds are basically, I'm again paraphrasing, but they're going to be seized and they won't release them. So do you remember this happened to me as well? I had my funds seized in across my bank accounts. And this is how crazy now things are getting with these banks. They've just become absolute dictatorships. They really have. And there's some really weird stuff going on with PayPal as well. PayPal are acting really strange. So what are they doing? They're pausing all of their crypto purchases for the time being. And you remember when I did that video on PayPal where they were freezing all of those withdrawals. So let's say you need to withdraw some funds. What did they do? They were freezing all of those withdrawals, if you remember. And they said, oh, we need to do some checks. Oh, you haven't updated your personal details in a long time. Oh, we need to check your bank account. No, they're deliberately doing all of these tactics at the moment. And I think some of the things that banks and some of these online platforms are doing is they're testing the public. They're testing to see, I had an account, I think it had £60 or something like that in it. And for me to, because they closed this account, they said, oh, you haven't really used it much, it's a dormant account, whatever. So what they said was, oh, you can get the account back, but you need to fill in all these forms. These forms would have taken me hours, maybe a couple of hours to fill in. So is there any point me doing that for £60? No, I'm not going to spend 2 or 3 hours and go to the bank. I've got to show my passport. I've got to do all this to try and get this account open, and then they'll transfer it to another account within the bank. And, they're doing all these really weird stuff at the moment, a lot of sneaky stuff. And it's not just that. Even with my, my van was stolen. I told you all about that. The insurance companies are absolute parasites. Let me tell you this. So they basically offered me half the value of my van that was stolen. And they take forever to pay out. And I said, no, I'm not accepting it. So they paid it out anyway and said, oh, you didn't tell us in time. It's like, I told them instantly. So now I've had to go through this big appeal process. And the regulator gives them 6 weeks. This is what they tell me. Gives them 6 weeks. So they're waiting until the last minute, I think, before they actually look at the value of the van. And they say, well, we can look at this, but it's going to take, all this time to look at and assess the value. And you might win, and then we might not pay you it's like all these companies, tech companies, insurance, banks, they've become absolute parasites. They really have. And it's all about profit now. They don't really care about any, any of us anymore. It's just madness. So good. We got a lot of people online, huh? 1,400 people online. I'm just looking at the stream here, the chat. But yeah, it's just crazy, all this stuff. And again, it didn't justify going into the studio to record today. So I thought I'd do a live stream. If you want me to do more off the cuff live streams, just let me know. But other than that, I don't even know how you end this live stream. There is no button on my screen here to end this. So let me see if I can maybe stop streaming. Okay, we're gonna stop the stream now. Good to speak to you all.